Hare Krishna Bhakti Manya, Hare Krishna Madhuri Radhe, Hare Krishna Justin, Hare Krishna Advaita Chandra, Hare Krishna Gayatri, Hare Krishna Madhuri Radhe, Hare Krishna Balaram, Hare Krishna Yogadish. Sound check, am I audible? Sound check, are you audible?
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Japa Jolt, Hare Krishna Ram, Avanish, Hare Krishna. So we're entering into the most sacred of all activities, the repetition with a sense of developing loving devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, every day, he'd walk from Kuraghat, and he would go to Imli Tal. And in Imli Tal, he would sit under the Imli Tal tree and chant japa from early into the late morning. So one of the processes that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu practiced every day, it's the primary practice for awakening love for Krishna within the heart. And I'm going to read a short verse from the Bhagavad Gita from chapter 13, text number 16, where Krishna reminds us of the presence, of his presence within our hearts. Bahiranta Shabhutanam Acharyam Charam Evacha Shukshmatva Tad Avigneyam Durastam Chantike Chatat. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all living beings, the moving and the non-moving. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of the material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. Prabhupada, in Vedic literature, we understand that Narayan, the Supreme Person, is residing both outside and inside of every living entity. He is present in both the spiritual and material worlds. Although he is far, far away, still he is near to us. These are the statements of the Vedic literature. Asino duram rajati shayano yati sarvata. Karta Upanishad 1.2.21. And because he is always engaged in transcendental bliss, we cannot understand how he is enjoying his full opulence. We cannot see or understand with these material senses. Therefore, in the Vedic language, it is said that to understand him, our material mind and senses cannot act. But one who has purified his mind and senses by practicing Krishna consciousness in devotional service can see him constantly. It is confirmed in Brahma Samhita that the devotee who has developed love for the Supreme God can see him always without cessation. And it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 11.54 that he can be seen and understood only by devotional service. Bhaktya Tvananyaya Shakya. So the perfection of the senses is to use them in Krishna service. And the first service is using the tongue to chant his holy names. And telling in this verse is that we cannot see or understand with these material senses. Therefore, in Vedic language, it is said that to understand him, our material senses, mind and senses cannot act. So we need to try to engage our minds and only enter into transcendence by being fully aware that Krishna is present in his name. And also, when Prabhupada says, when we develop a sense of love for Krishna, then he naturally reveals himself. So it's not an intellectual process, nor is it mechanical. And we have the great luxury of taking the next 45 minutes to just, as souls, connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his holy names. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Harinam Prabhu, if you so desire, please empower us so that we can be fully absorbed in chanting your holy names with no other consideration. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Shall we? Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Quick interlude. I was just thinking yesterday, dot dot pitamaha, mata data pitamaha. In the ninth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I'm the mother, I'm the father, I'm the grandfather. And I was considering how a mother has no other interest except for nourishing and nurturing the baby, the child. And I was talking to a mother the other day, and she's saying it never ends up to your last breath. That's the only consideration of the mother. Where's my child? How's my child doing? And similarly, the father does everything to maintain the grandparents. They show even more affection to the grandchild. And Krishna is saying that I am the mother, I'm the father, I'm the grandfather. And so we can consider while we're chanting that Krishna has a keen interest in us, to say the least. Just as a baby's always taken care of by the mother, Krishna's always attentive to us at every moment. And if we can reciprocate by realizing, first of all, our helplessness as a baby is helpless. Second of all, feel gratitude. Baby doesn't necessarily feel gratitude till it grows up and matures. But if we can have a mature realization that Krishna is maintaining me, everything, just my very existence now, it's going on because Krishna. And become absorbed in that sense of being held by Krishna while we're chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa. Remember that he's the soul of our soul. Then it's very practical, and the chanting can become more focused and intense in that feeling of dependence. Hare Kṛṣṇa. See you in a few minutes again. All forms of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. Actually, everything's in perfect order. And when we become aware of Krishna, in other words, when we're Krishna conscious, then we see how everything is complete by Krishna's mercy. Let's see if we have any. No, let's not see if we have any. Everyone give some reflection or a question, please. Ram.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. In the beginning, you mentioned how Krishna is different from the holy name, which we've heard many times, and the verse you mentioned as well. But my question was, I was trying to focus on that while chanting, but how can we practically understand that, or utilize that while chanting? Also slightly off topic, but I really like the grid in the background of your the books and the assume it can be done, and I was wondering where you were because this seems to be a different place than usual.
I have a devotee staying in my kutir, which is in my backyard, and I am upstairs in my house, and this is near Kula's office. And I moved a lot of things up here. I didn't know that was going to be in the background. It's just for my motivation. Thank you for noticing. Well, we can understand philosophically how we're one with Krishna. In fact, I was just thinking yesterday about what Prabhupada said. I listened to lectures of Prabhupada in the morning when I'm getting ready, and he was talking about how the proof of the sun's existence is the sunshine. When you see the sunshine, that's proof that there's a sun. And similarly, when there's consciousness, it's proof of God, because he's the source of all consciousness. And if you can embrace intellectually the idea of achinta bhed abhed tattva, which is that just as the sun rays are part of the sun, so similarly we're part and parcel of Krishna. We're simultaneously one with him. Qualitatively, we're the same, full of bliss, knowledge, eternality, and but quantitatively, we're the part and he's the whole. And you can appreciate such examples. That's how you can understand philosophically. But as Prabhupada said at the end of the purport today, that he can only be understood by devotional service. Bhaktya tvananyaya shakya. And when we develop this sense of love for Krishna, then we can experience these things directly. They come in stages, and there will be stages in which we have a sense of our oneness with Krishna and difference at the same time. That starts with Shraddha. We have a conviction that the scriptures are speaking to us directly and that they're divinely inspired. There's a representative chain of those who followed scripture and who are divinely inspired by their association with other Vaishnavas, and they pass that on to us. And then we come into a stage of realizing our own faults and winnowing out those things. Just like when you purify ghee, you pull out the impurities one ladle at a time. And then you come into nishta, and tadarajas tamo bhava kama lobadayasya cheta iter anavidam stitam sattve prasidati. When you come to Shuddha Sattva, then Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yad Iyate Tatra Dham Apavrita. There's a way in which then, when you're uncovered, you can see it directly for yourself, says the Srimad Bhagavatam. So both things, an intellectual understanding from Shastra, and then you'll experience it directly by devotional service. Amoda Vardhana.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. So I've heard people say that you should absorb yourself in your service, and I'm wondering if there is such a thing as too much absorption, if it gets to the point where it becomes difficult to chant your rounds attentively because that service is it like for instance, at least for me, in the past like couple of weeks, just things pop in my head randomly and it becomes difficult to concentrate on just hearing the mantra because it seems like every third or fourth mantra I remember, oh, I need to do this, or I need to do that, or I need to buy this, or I forgot to do that. So I wanted to hear a little bit of your advice regarding that matter.
Yeah, you should compartmentalize and make japa the time in which you have no other considerations except for the holy name. When you do that, then you can tell your mind that when I'm absorbed in Krishna and his name, that all of these duties and the ways in which I need to become efficient at performing them will be naturally, I'll be naturally empowered for by chanting. And give yourself some time to be absorbed only in that communion, state of communion with the holy name. And the mind, even in service, when we're thinking, I have to answer this, I have to do that, it can take us out of the flow of chanting. If you practice, you can compartmentalize those things. And one thing is, there's a system called GTD, which means you should have a trusted place where you put everything that's on your mind. Any things you have to do, anything that brilliant ideas you have, whatever, you should have at least, well, it's ideally to have one place to put them all. Physically take them out of your mind and either write them down and put them in that physical place, not all over the place, not in, it's here, it's there, everywhere, but one place. And whenever you have thoughts, things you have to get done, make sure to get them off your mind as fast as possible so that you have a trusted place. Then when you're chanting, when things come up, you'll have fewer things banging around. Don't hold them. The mind is a place for RAM. It's just random access memory, and it's temporarily, it's meant to be stored there. If you try to store everything there, then it's going to be an overwhelm. You won't be able to manage it all. So get it out of the short-term storage and write it down and put it in an external storage place. And then you can feel assured that when you're chanting, it's all there waiting for me and not to worry about it. One last. Jagatrata, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Gurmaraj. You accept my humble obeisances. I'll go to Srila Prabhupada. I've had a kind of like a rough past few days, but I've really been trying to take more shelter of the holy names. And I've been thinking that Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmam, that's it's very visceral feeling how when I try to depend on Krishna more, or when I try to concentrate or preserve myself in his holy names and in service, particularly in book distribution, then I really feel like I get some immediate reciprocation.
Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam. It's direct contact with Krishna. I'm sorry you had a rough couple days, and I hope they get better by your stalwart attachment to chanting the holy names. I'm so deeply grateful to all of you for your one-pointed attention on your devotional service. You're using your lives, starting with the most important part, the beginning, and getting established deeply in sadhana that will carry you through your whole life. All auspiciousness comes from chanting strictly every day, and all nonsense subsides from your life. Nonsense leads to great suffering, confusion, and so forth. So dry up the whole sea of nonsense that's there in your mind by the powerful winds of the holy name, and keep chanting throughout the day as much as possible, and keep reading Prabhupada's books. Follow the four regulative principles, because going off the guardrails, over the guardrails, means that you got to climb back out again with injuries. So stay safe, wear your safety belt, don't go off the road. Hare Krishna. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Kishore Kishori, Shri Shri Radha Golokananda, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram. If you so desire, please bless everyone who joined Japa Joel today, everyone who thought about joining, but it was too late or too early to join, everybody who accidentally slept through it and wishes they joined after they woke up, and everybody who's yet to join, that they always may remember this verse we read today, that the supreme truth exists outside and inside of all living beings, the moving and the non-moving. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of the material senses to see or to know. Although he is far, far away, he is also near to all. Let us remember that by chanting Hare Krishna, he's always near to us. What better way to live our lives than to be near to Krishna always? Thank you for considering our very convoluted and long request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kripa
Hare Krishna.
Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Be a kind friend to all living beings and take care of yourselves. Hare Krishna.